You guys ever wanted to buy that weird or silly RC that you could never justify getting unless it goes on sale? Well, I finally got mine. Hey everybody, Mike here with Cactus Crawlers RC, and I am back again today with something a little different. So I wasn't sure if I was going to do a video on this because it's not really a crawler, but I'm such a big dub head that anything Volkswagen just makes me go crazy. So when ROC Hobbies dropped the price of the People's Car from $189 down to $150, I couldn't resist. I had to get it. They've been out for a long time, so I'm not really going to do like the big old unboxing. Everybody knows that the ROC Hobby and the FMS comes in these really cool cases and everything. Look at that. Oh, get these little foams out of here. Open up the hood. There it is. Yeah, and that's where they'll keep the battery. Cool little spare tire. And the rest of the electronics are right in there. The doors will open. Look at that. It's like a rubbery material on the seats, but they sure do form fit and everything. That's really cool. And the back deck lid opens. We got some tape on there. And then opening up the deck lid exposes a really detailed motor in there. So the motor is going to have a belt drive, which is driven on the other side of the motor, and there's actually going to be a cooling fan in there that's going to help cool the motor down. Very cool. Just like the real thing. So here's the bumper, and I can see the horn, some extra license plates. Here's your charger and little T-wrench. And a radio just like the FMS. I'll be able to drive it one-handed. This will work. And so because this guy was on sale, I decided I was going to go ahead and splurge. And I got the Kuba wagon too. Oh, look at that one. Very cool. This one, the seats look like they're cloth, like almost like a gauze. Again, the same detail in the motor. Little belt and cooling system. Basically, it's going to be the same pan and everything, just a different body. Looks like the windshield is held down with two little clamps as it comes rotating up. Being careful not to stress anything too hard. Well, looks like they're going to clip in place right there, just like that. Got our little mirrors. Oh, so cool. I wonder why they didn't put mirrors on the Bug. This one would have been great with little mirrors on it. And then opening up the deck lid, and opening up the hood. There's our little battery right there, just like the other one. And this one, of course, will also have functioning doors. Look at that. Very cool. Yes. And same bag of treats. And the same radio. I guess I want to make sure that I don't mix these guys up. Alright, let's get a closer look at these guys and check them out, and I'll use my superpowers of Volkswagen deduction and we'll go over these models. Alright everybody, so I've got the bumper installed on the Beetle and it's looking a whole lot better, the little horn there. I've taken the protective film off of the glass, and I've also done the same to the Kubelwagen. I've taken the protective film off the glass and just kind of looked over everything. And while we're talking about the Kubelwagen, let's go ahead and take a look at this model first. So this is a very highly detailed model from what I can tell, knowing about Volkswagens and everything. This is like super scale. There are some little tiny things about it, but they're not even worth mentioning. The kind of person that's going to be into this vehicle is going to be like, this vehicle is going to run alongside maybe those scale tanks and everything during a tank battle or something on the 1/12 scale. So just the detail on this is awesome. This vehicle in particular never saw any service during World War II because it's still got the railroad marking on it. Usually this would be painted on by the factory and it tells them where they're going and the weights and everything for the railroad. Once it got to its destination, whether it was going to be Europe or North Africa, then the vehicle would be repainted to that camouflage paint scheme, and then the insignias would go on the doors. So this one hadn't reached service yet. Looks like it's a late model too, a late model Kubelwagen. So during the end of the war, a lot of these guys, you know, they didn't even get shipped out on trains. They just sat there. So this could be one of the lucky few that never saw combat. By today's standards would be worth a heck of a lot of money at Barrett-Jackson. So going on to the Beetle, beautiful bug. I mean, again, you know, really highly detailed. And who's going to buy this? Well, somebody like me, you know, a hardcore Volkswagen enthusiast for sure. Scalers, you know, if you like super scale stuff, this thing is really super scale. Let's get that Kubel out of the way. What I can see is this is, of course, an early model, being a split window with a rag top. However, it doesn't have any semaphores. And chrome luxuries like chrome bumpers with overriders like this would not have existed in the early years. They would have been painted. Chrome didn't come along until later on the American models during the import to America to try to persuade Americans on buying the car. But all in all, very highly detailed. Got that big W deck lid right there. That Pope's nose license plate housing, light housing. Yeah, very nice. So, looking at the underside of these vehicles, as I was mentioning before, both the Kubelwagen and the Beetle are basically going to have the same pans, just like the real deal. So both vehicles are four-wheel drive, which in the case of the Kubelwagen, there would have been some models that were four-wheel drive, but for the most part, most of these vehicles were two-wheel drive because there wasn't a whole lot of raw materials available to the Germans to make all of these guys four-wheel drive. So most of them were two-wheel drive. This one is four-wheel drive. And The torsion housing looks very scale in the front. And except for the little shafts going to the wheels for the front wheel drive mechanism, you would think this was an exact replica of a full-size Bug. For the rear, we have what everybody here in the RC rock crawler community would call portals. But these are actually gear reduction boxes in the land of Volkswagen. And so not only did it give you more torque for going off-road and through the mud and everything, but it did give you more ground clearance to avoid large obstacles and stuff. So, of course, the Schwimm wagon, which was the amphibious version of the Kubel wagon, had to be four-wheel drive because it had to claw its way out of a river. And then some Volkswagen Beetles that were produced during the war were also four-wheel drive. The tan version of this is called the Commander wagon, and that would have been the four-wheel drive version for the military. After the war, though, sadly there were no four-wheel drive Volkswagens. So this Beetle would be absolutely wrong in having gear reduction boxes or four-wheel drive setup for that matter. Not saying it couldn't have happened in the early days after the war, but for the most part, no Beetle is going to be gear reduction boxes or four-wheel drive. However, one vehicle that ROC Hobby can introduce that would have both gear reduction boxes and possibly some models of four-wheel drive is the Type 2 or the bus. So ROC Hobby, if you're talking, you could take this same setup on the pan, do a different body, and we could make ourselves a really cool early split window bus. Think about it, guys. Well, that's my in-depth breakdown of these two models and a little bit of in-depth knowledge that I have about Volkswagens. I don't think I'm going to hard crawl these vehicles for sure. These are beautiful models. They're very scale, and for the most part, they're probably just going to sit on the shelf along with all my other Volkswagen collectibles. But I really like them, and I thought I would share them with you. Thanks for checking out this episode of Cactus Crawlers RC. I appreciate everybody checking in, watching to the end here. Come back again next time. Maybe I'll get some footage of these guys out on the backyard course or something doing their thing, and we'll check you all out next time.